Hi, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Soulful Living with Megs. As always, it is so great to have you here back for a moment of connection with me. Hi, my beautiful friends. Happy Monday. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're staying warm and enjoying the sun for those of you that have it. I don't know why I always talk about the weather. Maybe because it affects my mood so much for me personally. When we have the sun, it just makes me feel so much better. But I hope that you are soaking up the sun. If there is sun wherever you are, I hope that your week's been fabulous. If you are listening to this on Monday, I hope that your upcoming week is amazing and that your past weekend was incredible. I have some updates for you guys that I want to talk about before we get into today's episode. As per usual, since you guys know I love to yap, I love to update you guys on what's been happening in my life and just share some of the activities and events and things that stood out to me. So in my past episode, I mentioned that I was going to the Tulip Festival here in Vancouver. Well, just outside of Vancouver, but still, I suppose, in the Lower Mainland. I don't know, whatever that means. Yeah, it was amazing. So I actually went to two different tulip festivals. We did buy tickets to one of them out in Harrison, BC. For those of you that are familiar with the area, it's like a 2-hour drive from Vancouver, so nothing too crazy. And we just rented a car and drove out there, which was so much fun. But on our way to Harrison, we decided to stop. I went with one of my friends, for those of you that might be curious. So we ended up stopping in Abbotsford at first because it was already on the way. Abbotsford's like an hour and a half outside Vancouver. And I was looking at both of them, trying to decide, okay, which one would be better. And I heard through Google, through other people, that Harrison was the better choice. But I was curious about Abbotsford. So we ended up stopping there and did a little impromptu photo shoot there, walked through the tulip fields, and it was beautiful. The colors were insane. It was very windy in Abbotsford, probably because it was like just off the highway. There was nothing really protecting the field itself, so that is fine. But gorgeous sun. We took some incredible photos. I was like in the tulips, literally crouched down. It was so cute and fun. And then we ended up driving to Harrison to go to the second one. So we spent like the rest of the afternoon there. And it was just stunning. I wasn't expecting, I don't exactly know what my expectations were going into it. I thought that I would be able to walk through the fields a bit more. And not that we weren't, but we had to stay on the quite large and wide paths, which makes sense. You don't want to trample the tulips, they took so long to grow so beautifully anyway. Why would we ruin them? But we couldn't go past a certain like barrier. So that was a bit restrictive. And, both of them had gorgeous flowers. They were the same colors, same, it was beautiful. So we took some nice photos out in Harrison, and then they had a little yard area where we got to play some lawn games, and there was food trucks. We didn't really eat anything there, but we did browse through the store that they had because we did like a little add-on thing. I think I mentioned that before, where you got to take tulips home. So we got to take 20 tulips home, which was so cute. They just died, so they lasted, just over a week, which was nice. And then we ended up staying the night in Harrison. We just didn't really feel like driving back. It was only like 7:38 by the time we finished dinner, but we figured why not just stay? We found some cheap motel just like right beside the Harrison Springs Resort, and it was so cute. We walked around the lagoon, we went on the dock, we had a cute little coffee and breakfast the next morning. We played crib. I played crib for the very first time, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. So I'm definitely going to be playing that all summer, I think. And it was just such a nice little weekend getaway. And I drove the car home the entire way home, which was so fun. I'm so proud of myself. I haven't driven in Vancouver at all since I moved here, which is kind of crazy. And the only time that I really drive is when I go visit my family in Calgary and I use my mom's car. So it was nice to be able to drive, and highway driving is just so fun and easy. So I enjoyed that. And my past week was actually a lot of fun at work. It was admin appreciation week. I'm pretty sure administrative day is like only one single day, but we stretch it out for the week. So we had basically something every single day. On Monday, they brought in puppies for us to play with, and It was the sweetest, most cute surprise ever. I'm allergic to animals, but I was actually okay. I did end up taking a pill afterwards, but oh my gosh, they were so cute. They were biting very hard because they were teething, but they were such little soft monsters. Oh my gosh, they were amazing. And then what I liked about the place that they got these puppies from was I think they do like puppy yoga too through their company, but all of them were adopted. So they were all going home the following week. So I guess this week coming up here, they'll all have their homes to go to. But I did love that. I loved that they were all adopted and they're going to great homes, I'm sure. And it was just so cute. And then Wednesday we had a staff breakfast. So they brought in, for those of you in Vancouver, you might be familiar with Siegel's Bagels. It's one of my favorite bagel companies. They have an incredible rosemary rock salt bagel, and it's just to die for. So that was such a yummy breakfast, to have little breakfast sandwiches on those bagels. And then Thursday, we had a little ice cream pop up. We had this brand called Innocent Ice Cream. I think it's on East Hastings out in East Vancouver, like quite east. And they have little ice cream sandwiches and they were adorable. And they had like cookies that like were the actual like sandwich part, and a huge thing of ice cream that we had. It was so thick, but it was amazing. Tasted so good. And then our Friday consisted of ending the office or ending work a bit earlier. And we went to the rec room because there's one located like right downtown Vancouver. And it was so fun. We rented out like the bottom part for a few hours. We played mini golf. We had food. I was actually watching the hockey game the Montreal Canadiens were playing, and it was like right on the big screen. So I was watching that. We went upstairs and played some arcade games. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I won 2 little stuffies, although the stupid claw machines are so rigged. I spent so much money, or like coins, whatever, tickets on those machines. I just wanted to take something home. I finally got some stuff, so that was good. But it was just such a nice little week. I felt happy with the warm weather. And then this past Saturday, I spent the day at the beach with my cousin and some other friends. And it was just, oh my gosh, so relaxing, so amazing. Today, I actually am recording this on Sunday here. I went for a massage this morning, which is probably why I don't know if I sound groggy, but I feel a bit groggy. I'm still trying to wake up. It was such a relaxing but painful massage. I'm really glad that I went and did that. And I just decided to take a bit of a rest day today. And kind of why I wanted to talk about today's episode kind of leads into that, and we'll get there. But yesterday when I was working out, I was rushing through my warm up and kind of my workouts for the day because I wanted to head to the beach really early. So it was definitely like my fault, but I did hurt my back, and it just kind of made me slow down and reflect and kind of think about, okay, like I need to prioritize rest and recovery in my fitness journey. And then it made me think about, okay, like let's talk about my fitness journey and like where I started versus where I am now, and things that motivate me to keep going. So I figured it was a good episode, very fitting for the fact that I am forcing myself to take a rest day today, even though I don't necessarily want to. I would like to do some type of physical activity outside for sure, but normally my Saturdays and Sundays consist of gym early morning, an hour and a half there, and then I do my rest of my day. So switching it up a bit kind of makes me feel slightly anxious, but I do know that recovery is a very crucial part in my fitness journey. But before we get into that, I did want to talk about one other thing about this past week. You know, I like to share quotes with you guys, things that I see online, things that inspire me or through my friends, through my people. But I did see this quote on Instagram that said, shared joy is double the joy, and shared heaviness is half the heaviness. And it just spoke to me this week, and I was reflecting with a lot of friends on things that they were going through and things that I'm going through, and how we manage and work through our adversities and those little like road bumps along the way of life. And I just loved this quote, and I think it makes so much sense, and I agree with it. Like when you are sharing joy and love with somebody in your life, it feels better to experience it with another person because it just, yeah, it doubles that feeling of happiness. And I think a lot of us feel at times that we don't want to necessarily burden others with the feelings that we have, especially if they are heavy. And I don't know that burden is an appropriate word to use, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I sometimes feel when I'm having big feelings or I'm feeling anxious or I'm very, very down, like I don't want to spread that energy to the people in my life because I don't want to put them down. And I'm a very empathetic person, so I do feed off energy quite easily. So I do know what it feels like when there is an energy that is a little bit more negative, a bit more down for that day. It's okay to feel like that, but I do know the effects that I feel personally when I am around that, and that doesn't mean I don't want to be, but the last part of this quote of the shared heaviness is half of the heaviness is such a good reminder that even though we feel like sometimes we don't want to share that load because we don't want to put others down, it in fact lightens your own load and makes you feel 10 times better. And I do know when I share my feelings with my friends, or I just need to get something off my chest, and I needed to get something off my chest to one of my friends earlier this week, and it just helped to speak it out loud, to have somebody else listen, even if there was no advice given. It was just so nice to have somebody acknowledge that my feelings were valid and that they make so much sense, and that, they're sorry that I'm going through that, and like let me know if I can do anything to help you. And like just being able to share those feelings, share that rant, it just lightened my load so much more. So I think we need to remember that, yes, it's a great, we're being so mindful when we're like, yeah, we don't want to bring others down with our negativity, but it's inevitable that we will feel that way at some point in life. There's so many ups and downs that this journey has to offer that we're meant to experience. But if you can lighten your load, have somebody share a little bit of that weight, it makes it so much easier for, I think, you to move forward in a more motivated, inspiring way, to feel empowered to get out of that situation. And that's not to say you can't feel the feelings, because you absolutely should, and you're meant to feel those feelings. But I just mean that when I say I'm here for you guys, like I'm here for you. And that goes for everybody in my life that I'm close to. Like, I want you to tell me what you're struggling with, because I likely have capacity to help you through that moment. And if I don't have capacity, I'll let you know. Like, you will always know, okay, right now I can't necessarily pour a bit more love into your cup because I need a bit more love in my cup. But the fact that your people are there for you to hear about all of your good times and all of your bad should inspire you to keep sharing that load, because that heaviness will dissipate and will lighten, and you don't have to carry it on your own. You never have to be alone in these feelings. So I just wanted to share that quote. I loved it. Really sat true with me this week, especially. And it's just a good reminder to experience the happy moments with the people in your life, and also the sad moments and the more heavy, melancholy moments. So to kind of touch base with what I said earlier, I wanted to talk about my fitness journey and kind of where I'm at with that, and how I drive myself to keep moving forward. And you guys know, like, most of my life was spent dancing, and definitely is still always a huge part of me, of course. But I needed something else to do when I was out of the dance company that I was in, because I'm, of course, not dancing as much. I'm not getting as much physical activity. And it took me a bit to kind of get into this fitness journey, but I kind of fell in love with weightlifting. I fell in love with strength training. And I never thought I would say that. I never thought that I would be at a place where I genuinely want to go to the gym. And I think a lot of us feel that way when we start the journey. We're a little bit hesitant, but then once you get over that little hump, you feel like unstoppable. Like, you want to keep going because the results that you're seeing are, driving you to get more. And I basically started my fitness journey just like a year and a half ago, almost a year and a half ago. I would say last January, I told myself, okay, I'm actually going to put an effort to start strength training way more. Not that I wasn't doing it before, but I was very on and off in the gym. I was doing more like Pilates style full body. I was walking a ton though, so definitely my cardio was up, but I wanted to lift weights. I wanted to gain more muscle than what I already had. And yeah, so I started going to the gym every single day at lunch at work. And I have an hour break for lunch, so I'll work out for a half an hour and then I'll, shower, get ready, heat up my food, all this and that. And then on the weekends, like I said earlier, my Saturdays and Sundays, I try to structure them where I am going to the gym early morning. I just personally like working out in the morning a lot better. I feel like I'm way more productive in my day once I get my exercise out of the way. So, I mean, ideally, I would work out in the morning before work, but I start at 8. I also like to have a very slow morning, as you guys know. So I don't know. I already wake up early as it is, so I don't know that I would want to work out then. So lunchtime is more of the best alternative as opposed to after work. But on the weekends, I will go in the morning. I spend way more time at the gym on the weekends just because I don't have necessarily a time constraint a lot of the time. So I do that. And then how I kind of structure my week. And sometimes this varies, of course, but what I have found that works for me is I'll do 4 days of actual weight and strength training, and then I'll do a day of cardio or sometimes active rest in that day if I like don't have time for cardio, and then another day I'll do a full body workout, which is more of like a light Pilates style, or again, if I don't do a full body, I'll make it cardio. So I am moving my body almost every single day. I give myself technically only one rest day, but that's not necessarily true because I feel like my days where I am just doing a treadmill incline walk at lunch is a pretty good rest day for me as well. But that's kind of how my split is. I'll do 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days. And at first, it was definitely harder to get into than it is now. Of course, that initial push I needed to get there, but I attribute a lot of my motivation to the fact that I was living with my friend Sid at the time, and she is a fitness instructor. She's a personal trainer. She is very inspiring. The way that her body and her physique looks obviously is like different than mine. We're two completely different heights, but just to see her progress personally was always pushing me to have progress of my own, and just to see the strength in her body and her muscles developing, I was just like, yeah, I want to do this too for myself because it is beneficial to lift weights. And I don't have the actual statistics for you or the actual science backed behind this, but I did hear when women hit their 30s, we do lose a percentage of our muscles and our strength in them or something like that. So we actually have to lift weights is what I hear. And it's so good for us because our mobility is important. Our strength is important as we get older because I think that we're more susceptible to like hip replacements and things like that. So we want to be as strong as we can so that when the muscles kind of do naturally deteriorate, we still have muscle, if that makes sense. And hopefully that's somewhat right. But I heard something like that. And so that was also a driving factor for me and me wanting to better my health and to be strong. Like I want to be able to pull my body weight in a pull up. And that's hard to do, but like I want to be able to do that. And I want to be able to be strong enough for any activity I do and that's fitness related, like I want to have the core strength, the stability, the arm strength, the things to, have longevity in those sports that I play. So there was definitely a lot of people around me motivating me, but I was also motivating myself because I wanted to better myself. And I think that's a huge part. Like it always has to come from you. And I saw this quote from somebody else that actually motivates me. And she's actually one of Sid's friends. She also works at a gym, but she is also a personal trainer. She is a fitness influencer online. Her name is Nikki. And I'll tag both Sid and Nikki in the show notes, of course, if you want to check out their Instagrams. They both offer personal training online or like online coaching, and they're both incredible. So anyway, they're so strong. But Nikki posted a little Q&A type thing on her Instagram. And so I'm just going to pull it up here because she basically said that I think somebody was asking, like, how do you get yourself motivated? Like, how do you stay so consistent? And she said something that I think is so true for a lot of people. At least it sat very true with me. She was saying how being disappointed in herself is worse than being unmotivated. And that's the same thing with me. Like, most of the time, I'm not totally motivated to go to the gym. There are some days that I really, really want to go. And of course, yesterday when I hurt myself, I was feeling very frustrated because I wanted to go to the gym today. Like, I want to be working out. And that was, mostly because my previous weekend I was away. So my schedule kind of got discombobulated there, and I didn't get to necessarily have my workout that I normally do. But most of the time, I wake up at 7 on the weekends because my internal alarm won't let me sleep, and I don't really want to go to the gym. Like, I'd rather just have a chill, slow morning. But the fact that Nikki had said, like, being disappointed in herself is worse than being unmotivated is so true. I would rather push myself to do something I don't want to do, such as going to the gym, knowing that afterwards I will feel better. But if I don't go, I am going to be disappointed in myself. I am going to be sitting there thinking, gosh, I wish I did that. And even on Friday, I did not want to do a single thing at lunch. Actually, what I wanted to do was go shopping. I wanted to do some window shopping. I wanted to go we're right across from the mall at my office. So I kind of wanted to just browse around. But I brought my gym clothes and I was like, no, I need to do a cardio day because the previous day I hadn't. And so I was texting my friend on Teams and I was like, gosh, I don't want to go to the gym. I want to go shopping, but I have to go to the gym because I knew if I didn't go, I would be disappointed in myself. And I'm so glad afterwards I went. It was hard. I was sweating. I was tired. I didn't want to do it. But obviously after, like, it was beneficial for my body. I was showing up for myself. So that is a very, very big driving factor for me. And I think I talked about this before where I think some of us are waiting for motivation to hit us and then for us to be pushed. But motivation comes from within, and oftentimes it isn't necessarily going to be there. It's the fact that you are choosing to wake up and show up for yourself and go to a workout class, go to the gym, go for a walk, whatever fitness activity you enjoy doing. That is what, like, you are only going to push yourself. And you can be inspired by other people because, of course, I am inspired by so many amazing fitness influencers, instructors, so many people around me. I'm inspired to keep going because I see their results. And I also, from the fact that I started a year ago to where I am now, or, a year and a few months, I see results in my body. And that is pushing me more to keep going because I want to keep seeing results. I want to keep gaining strength and mobility and flexibility and being able to do all of those things for as long as I can. And so the fact that now I'm seeing these results, I see the work being put in and it's paying off. Oh my gosh, it's so rewarding. And it's funny because a lot of us want that instant gratification. At least I know I do. Like, when I go to the gym, I want results tomorrow. I want to see, I've already grown my glute muscles. My arms are so strong and I went to the gym one time. Obviously, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. But consistency is key for progress. If you want to see it, keep going. I promise you that you'll see results. And then in turn, I think that will just motivate you more to keep going. But I also find, I find it helpful when you are inspired by other people to kind of follow people online, whether it be there or if you have people in your life that are the same, like, body type and build as you are. I think that's really beneficial because I follow like a ton of different influencers online, but they're all different heights, from my height. I follow influencers that are a lot taller than me. And so I know that they're kind of structurally slightly different. And so they're going to have more of one thing than the other in comparison to myself. So it is helpful, I would say, to find somebody that has a similar height to you, similar body type, shape, etc., that, can help you, like, okay, maybe these exercises will help me a little bit more than they would if I was following somebody like super tall. Like, how is this so easy for that person but more difficult for me? You know what I mean? So I think that's really helpful. Another driving factor into my fitness journey, and something that, you know, helps me keep going, is to know that I want to make the best version of myself that I can. I want to be as healthy, as motivated, as functional mobility wise as I can be. So that's a huge driving factor. And I also know with that, you know, I'm going like 4 days a week doing like weight training and then the other stuff, like I said, but I also know that if I do want to be the best version of myself, I also need to rest. And recovery and rest is super key, especially for wanting results. And my mom has to give me this reminder a lot of the time, actually, because I sometimes forget in the moment, but when I'm stressed about the fact that, you know, I hadn't worked out in like 2 days or something, like, for example, I'm not working out today. I was texting her yesterday about it and I was like, you know what, but you're right. You always say that muscles also develop while resting. So I need to give my body a break. And you're also not going to lose your progress by resting. Like, my muscles are not going to depreciate the way that my brain thinks they're going to depreciate in strength. Like, they're not going anywhere. And recovery is just as important when you are building muscles and building strength. You need to allow those muscles to rest in order to then work on them again. If you're working out every single day so hard, you're giving yourself no rest in between, your muscles are fatigued and they're not going to be working at its full potential. You know, they need rest to build. So that's a huge motivation for me, is knowing that, you know, I want to be the best version of myself. That includes rest. That includes taking care of my mind, my body, my soul, all this and that. So rest is super important. Recovery is super important. And I want to stress that I do focus on that a lot, and I do listen to my body, because of course intuitively your body's going to tell you exactly what it needs. So if I do wake up one morning and I'm just not at a place where I should be working out, I do listen to my body, and I know that it thanks me, because then the next day I have way more strength to get into it. Something else that motivates me is to find exercises that I actually enjoy and that actually work for my body. And I think that it's an important reminder that if you are doing weight training, strength training, there's so many different exercises that target the same muscles. Maybe not necessarily like the exact same way, but they'll target. Like, there are so many different exercises to build your glutes. There's so many different exercises for back and biceps, you know what I mean? But finding exercises that you actually like doing are a huge game changer. And I mean, I'm speaking on my personal experience with that, but I kind of have a regime that I like to do, and there's so many exercises that I actually enjoy doing that I just stick to, because again, that consistency is super key. You don't really want to switch it up every single time. It's okay once in a while, of course. Like, I do switch up my exercises, but majority of the time I do the exact same ones, mainly because I actually like doing them. I don't necessarily force myself to do exercises that I hate doing, such as cable kickbacks. Sorry, I dislike them so much. I have the straps for my ankles, and I do them once in a while. Not my favorite one. I would rather do my RDLs, which I actually do like a reversed version of an RDL, because sometimes it does hurt my lower back, which probably means I should engage my core more, but you know, it's a little bit more sensitive for me personally. So I'll do a reverse RDL. That's way more, I like that more. And then I'll do my hip thrusts, which not necessarily my favorite, but I like them more than a cable kickback or another type of exercise. And then, okay, I do one exercise that I actually despise. I really dislike Bulgarian split squats, but I do know the benefit of them, so I keep doing them. But they are probably my least favorite in my entire workout regime. But again, so important to find exercises that you enjoy doing. I was not someone that thought that I would enjoy upper body day, but it's actually my favorite workout day to do. I love doing my shoulders and I love doing my back. And I think it's because I do exercises that I enjoy doing. So find what works for you and your body that feels good, but also pushes you and makes you work hard for, and stick with those, because you don't want to be forcing yourself to do something that you absolutely hate. I don't think that that's good for injury wise. Like, I don't want you to be more prone to injury, things like that. But finding what works for you definitely, I hope, would keep you motivated. It definitely does keep me motivated to keep going on this journey. But most of all, like, just remember that progress isn't linear. Like, there's going to be days where you do feel more motivated naturally and inspired to be working out, but some days you're not going to want to show up. But the fact that you are choosing to be the best version of yourself, to tell yourself that, you know what, this is helping me in the long run, I think will just help your journey if you are interested in doing some type of fitness journey as well. So yeah, I've been loving it so much, and I feel the benefits. I see the results. I'm just going to keep going. The only thing is that I wish I started earlier. If I had started my fitness journey in my early 20s, I can't imagine what my physique would look like now and where my strength would be, but that's okay, because the most important thing now is that I feel healthy and I feel strong, and I'm only going to go up from there. So I just love that I'm continuing on this momentum, and it just makes me feel good about myself. It makes me know that I love myself, that I want to better myself each and every day. And I hope that inspires you if you are starting some type of journey, that, you know, you will see results if you keep going. So consistency is so key, and continue to show up for yourself. Do not give up on yourself, because it will, in the long run, work out and pay off. Guys, that's what I have for you today. I just wanted to share a bit of my fitness journey, what keeps me motivated, what I'm currently doing with all of that. If you are curious about more of my fitness stuff, please let me know. I'm happy to share. I'm definitely not a fitness instructor by any means, but I do love working out with my friends. I also love taking classes outside of the work that I do myself. Like, I do find benefit in doing the fitness classes, but again, like, finding things that work for you, I think, is so important. So yeah, thanks for listening to today's episode. As always, I hope that you can take something from it. If you can't and nothing resonated with you, that is so okay. Hopefully next week something will speak to you. But I hope that your week is filled with endless opportunities of joy and love and light. I'm sending all of that incredible energy to you, so I hope that you feel it. And we will chat super, super soon in next week's episode. Okay, love you guys. Bye.